Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into something really cool. This idea that the key to really getting music isn't just about the notes, but about the patterns they make. It's a perspective that, honestly, might just flip how you think about learning an instrument.
So let me just start by asking you a question. What if learning to play music felt less like you were just memorizing a bunch of random commands and more like how you learn to talk? Just totally natural.
Because that's the big idea we're digging into here. Music isn't just a random jumble of sounds, it's a real, structured system for communication. It has its own alphabet, its own words, and its own grammar.
All right, so if we're going to run with this whole music is a language thing, we've got to deconstruct it, right? We have to look at the basic building blocks. And when you put them side by side, the similarities are pretty wild. I mean, both are systems to communicate. Both are built on sounds. Language has the alphabet to write those sounds down. Music has notation. And just like we have dialects and accents, music has all these different genres and styles. Okay, let's drill down even further. If you think about the letters of the alphabet, A, B, C, as the absolute rock bottom basic part of language, then the musical notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, are the exact same thing for music. This is ground zero. But of course, we don't talk to each other by just saying A, B, C, right? That would be weird. We combine them to make more complex sounds, to make meaning. And music does the exact same thing. So what's that next step up? Well, in English, we have these things called digraphs, where two letters make one sound, like ch or sh. In music, the equivalent of that is an interval. It's just two notes played together. And this is where things start to get really expressive. Because just like certain words have a certain feeling, each musical interval has its own unique character, its own emotional vibe. This is really the beginning of musical feeling. So the whole point is that these little two-note combos can communicate really specific moods. A minor third, for example, it can sound a little sad, kind of like a gloomy, rainy day. But a perfect fifth, that sounds powerful, triumphant, like a victory chant. And then you get something like the augmented fourth, which just sounds, well, it sounds spooky. It's unsettling. And get this. That sound, the augmented fourth, was so jarring to people's ears way back when that they literally nicknamed it Diabolus in Musica, which means the devil in music. I mean, seriously, that's how much emotional power is packed into just two simple notes. Okay, so we've got our letters, the notes, and we have our two-letter sounds, the intervals. Now let's see how we put those together to start building actual musical words and even full-on sentences. And you can see how it all stacks up right here. It's like a ladder. You start with the notes, your alphabet. You combine them into intervals. Then you stack those up to make chords and melodies. Those are your words. And finally, you string those words together into musical phrases, which are basically complete musical sentences. And this isn't just some abstract theory, Think about a super simple song everyone knows, like Hot Cross Buns. Those first three notes, that's a melodic pattern. It's a simple little musical word that our brains just instantly recognize. So why does all this matter? Why are we so focused on these patterns? Well, this is all about making the jump from just hitting the right notes to actually being fluent in the language of music. And the payoff is absolutely huge. When you start seeing patterns, music becomes so much easier to learn and remember. Your sight reading gets way better because you're not trying to figure out every single note one by one. You actually start to understand what the composer was trying to say so you can play with more feeling. And the big one, it unlocks your ability to improvise and even write your own stuff. What happens in your brain is a total game changer. It's the difference between sounding out every single letter in a sentence versus just reading whole words at a time. You start seeing the music in these bigger, meaningful chunks. And look, this isn't just a cute analogy we're using. This whole approach is actually grounded in how our minds are built to work. It's about learning with your brain, not fighting against it. I mean, at its very core, the human brain is a pattern recognition machine. It's what we do, it's how we make sense of, well, everything, from faces to language to the world around us. So when you teach music using patterns, you're tapping right into that natural built-in learning system. And this way of thinking didn't just pop up out of nowhere. If you look at other famous music education methods, you can see they're on a similar track. Both Kodali and Suzuki, for instance, put a huge emphasis on ear training right from the start. Just like a kid hears a language long before they read it, right? But where this pattern-based approach really carved its own path is down there in the goal row. It's not just about literacy or being good at your instrument. The main goal is becoming fluent in musical grammar, understanding the why behind the notes, not just the what.
And this right here, this is the perfect way to think about it. Rote learning, that's like being able to repeat a phrase in a foreign language perfectly, but you have no idea what the words actually mean. Pattern learning is like actually understanding the grammar of that language, so you can build your own sentences and really, truly speak it.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. The next time you sit down to play, ask yourself, am I just playing a bunch of notes I memorized? Or am I actually speaking the incredible emotional language of music?